Hi, Rich Karuba for bowlingball.com. Let's talk about modern bowling ball cover stocks. And let's just talk about what you have a need to know. We've got an article that details pretty good information about the various cover stocks available for bowling balls in today's market. But, I think in bowling ball selection process, what you need to do is keep it simple and just focus on the area where you need to get a bowling ball to match the lane conditions where you bowl most frequently. The cover stocks are the number one important decision that you have to make when you choose a new bowling ball. It's where the rubber meets the road, the old-fashioned advertising term, and that means the bowling ball cover stocks always what's in contact with the lane, not the inner core. And so the cover stock, the friction factor there, the type of cover stock is going to determine just exactly how much traction you will or will not get with a given bowling ball. So the plastic cover stocks, we start there. That's the least aggressive, creates the least amount of surface friction, as you know. They're going to slide the most, better used on dry lanes for shooting spares. And some samples might be our Pyramid Path series at bowlingball.com. We've got some new bowling balls. You won't beat the price anywhere, but there are other good choices of plastic cover stocks available by other leading manufacturers. Just check our site out and you'll find them. Urethane cover stocks next. Just basic general urethane that's going to give you more friction, more traction than plastic, but they're easy to control. They're basically entry-level bowling balls. They have a controllable reaction from the break point to the pocket. They're not going to jump out of the pattern for you, but they'll give you a little bit more friction than will plastic cover stocks. Examples might be the Brunswick Slingshot series or the Storm Tropical Breeze series or the Elite Asteroid model. Those bowling balls are great urethane, basic regular urethane cover stocks, and they're not to be overlooked, so particularly for you power players when the lanes get a little bit dry. Reactive resin cover stocks, well, typically reactive resins are composed of similar materials as regular urethane formations, but they're blended. They have different additives, and some of them can even be finished off with a very tacky feeling on the cover stock, which means they're going to bite the lane when it gets to the high friction part of the back end of the lane, and it gives it the opportunity to hook pretty sharply or severely. But they also modify these reactive cover stocks with solid, pearl, and hybrid reactive models. And each of those has different characteristics. So, for example, in heavier oil, the solid material works better. It gives a wider footprint on the lane, coupled with typically with symmetric core designs, but sometimes they have asymmetric core designs. These balls are basically the best choices for heavy or medium heavy oil because they're going to give you that traction on the front end of the lane, and you can alter the surface of the ball and get it just the right transition you need, the right ball shape motion as the ball moves in the mid lane and on the back end. Pearl reactive cover stocks, well, when the lanes get a little drier and you need a little more distance, a little more length potential, go to the pearl cover stock. That cover stock could give you the skid and give you sharp backhand reaction, or it can give you skid and a modest backhand reaction. You can, just depending on the hook potential rating of the bowling ball before you start. But the cover stock, the first decision is how you want it to react in the front two-thirds of the lane, where the ball sets out to travel, how much skid you need. It's called length potential. And the pearl reactive examples that can give you those different types of motion ranging from modest to very angular back ends, because they might add some mica and sparkle into the bowling balls for appearances. They have some additives in there that's going to create that high friction. And the Brunswick Slingshot series, again, has pearl reactive cover stocks, and as does the Storm Virtual Gravity Nano Pearl, and of course the Storm Marvel Pearl Ball. Those balls work very well as pearl reactive balls. So it gives you a combination then of, or at least an alternative to the solid reactive balls on medium or medium dry lane conditions. I'm kind of going quickly here, but I hope you follow what we're trying to establish. And then the hybrid cover stock next. That's kind of a composite of pearl and solid reactives. Gives you the best of both worlds, so to speak, so you get good gripping power on the front end of the lane, but you have enough traction on the back end. So the ball will react like a solid reactive ball on the front end and like a pearl reactive on the back end. And they're more and more popular, and they're more and more versatile, the cover stocks. So you can alter them slightly. You can get aggressive or mild hybrid cover stocks, and the Storm Frantic, for example, the Hammer Arson, the Roto Grip Rising Star are just some samples of hybrid reactive cover stocks. All the leading manufacturers make them now. And of course, Particle is probably the most aggressive and successful classification of bowling ball for the heavy volumes of oil that you encounter. They do so much with that cover stock to help that really grip the front end of the lane, create a lot of traction, a lot of friction early, and conserve sometimes too little energy for the back end of the lane. But the particle cover stocks are pretty easy to identify because they have a noticeable silica particles reflecting from bright light. You can even see them as you hold the ball when you're preparing to bowl. So recent types of releases of particle cover stocks would be the Lane 1 Time Bomb Black Fire or the Storm Global Shift Pro Pin variety, the Lane 1 Max Curve. Those are types of particle cover stocks available on the market, so you have a whole range to think about. But I would think the most important thing for you to do is to make sure you understand what type of piece of equipment and cover stock is missing from your present arsenal, and select one of these modern bowling ball cover stocks and round out your arsenal so you're ready for different competitive conditions. Thank you.